Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Alliance live show number 19. I'm your host, Ramon Azab, aka Remon with the Alliance, and today we've got some really cool stuff to take a look at here. We're going to take our first look here at some live Hermit Yoda gameplay, courtesy of Anal T101, and also some look at territory battles, courtesy of Mobile Gamer. Both of them recently got an opportunity to go out to Capital Games in California and try out territory battles and Hermit Yoda hands-on. So we're actually going to get a look here at some of the footage. You may have seen some of this footage on their videos as well, but I just want to kind of take a look at each of these features and, of course, the new character Hermit Yoda to kind of discuss them in depth. As always, I'm joined by my co-host here, good old Maurice. Maurice, how you doing?
Doing swell. Got a lot to cover, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're taking a look at Hermit Yoda here. Right now, we've got some live gameplay going on, or we're looking at some actual gameplay of the character. What are your thoughts on him so far? We're going to take a look at his abilities here in a moment.
I'll tell you what, man, you bring some life into these Jedi comps, moving forward. So
yeah,
might shake up Arena even more,
Absolutely. All right, well, he has a basic attack called Master's Protection, and what that does is all other allies recover 10% health and 5% protection. All other Jedi allies gain 5% turn meter. His special ability is Master's Training, and that's Yoda gains stealth for 2 turns, dispels all debuffs on target other ally, and grant them the Master's Training unique buff until the end of the encounter. Then call all allies with Master's Training to assist, and this has a 3-turn cooldown. Master's Training plus 25% doubled on a Jedi. Accuracy, defense, offense, potency, and tenacity can't be dispelled or prevented. That's what Master's Training does. It looks like a pretty sick buff. I haven't seen anything that complex yet as far as buffs go in the game. Pretty interesting to see it in action, especially when he calls in multiple targets for an assist. Have you gotten a chance to see the attack yet?
Well, I'm watching the footage here. I mean, using with Kenobi, you're getting all sorts of just massive group, assist attacks. I mean, this is crazy DPS you might be able to get out of using the 2 of them,
Absolutely. His second special ability is Strength Flows from the Force, and that's all allies have their current health percentages equalized. Health equalizing effects ignore healing immunity. Then all allies recover 20% health and protection, and Jedi allies gain Foresight for 2 turns, and this has a cooldown of 4. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like a Barris, right? He's going to just basically heal through healing immunity, and that means, of course, shock as well. Some of the other buffs or debuffs that prevent you from healing, he's going to be able to, basically, power right through that. Now, he also has a unique ability called In Exile, and that's Yoda gains stealth for 2 turns at the start of an encounter, and has 100% evasion, plus 100% evasion while stealth. When there are no active allies, Yoda escapes from battle. So that just basically means, at the end of the encounter, if everybody else has died, Yoda will just disappear. That's pretty cool. I want to see what that looks like. I've heard it actually looks pretty cool. So unique ability number 2 is Do or Do Not, and that's whenever an ally with Master's Training is defeated, Yoda gains 100% turn meter and resets all of his cooldowns. And that's a pretty cool unique to have because, I mean, obviously, once somebody with Master's Training goes down, he's going to get the chance to, give somebody else Master's Training right away. So that's basically going to mean that, at all times somebody's going to have Master's Training, which is pretty cool. And I've seen, a couple of times here in this footage, him call in, multiple targets for an assist, with that special attack. And he does actually no attacks, right? So he doesn't actually hit anybody. He just basically buffs the team. He's just there kind of as like a maestro or a conductor, over an orchestra, and just kind of, gives buffs to the team. He's kind of the point guard out there. You know what I'm saying? He's just kind of spreading the love. So that's his whole kit. What do you think about him so far? I mean, from the couple of minutes here you've seen him on live.
More foresight, just I don't really know what to make of him. I mean, he looks awesome.
He does look really awesome. The thing is, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be like one of the best characters to come out. Obviously, he's going to help the Jedi faction. I kind of think that, again, I mean, all the new characters seem to be, working out and becoming meta-changing, so it's tough to say that that's not going to continue, or that trend isn't going to continue with Hermit Yoda. But I don't know if he's going to be as effective as, let's say, a Grand Admiral Thrawn or a Darth Nihilus, somebody like that. But, again, being able to buff the Jedis who, recently have seen a huge increase in relativity and use, I think is going to be a huge benefit. So for those of you out there, working on your Jedi squads, he may definitely be somebody of interest for you, as we move into the new update, into territory battles, which is what we're actually going to discuss next. One of the recent forum updates was a territory battles overview, and that was released on the 18th of August. That was right after our last live show. We didn't have one last week, and what you're going to be seeing here now is actual footage from Mobile Gamer of the first phase of the territory battle. So you're actually going to get to see the initial walkthrough here, and we'll take a look at the initial battles and what you can expect day one here when the actual content update drops. So basically, territory battles is going to be heavily involving galactic power, which is the new statistic that's been added into the game. You can all see your galactic power if you go to the tab, or you click on your name on the upper left hand corner in the cantina. You'll be able to see now your galactic power for your characters and your ships, and you're going to need to disperse a certain amount of galactic power in each territory to basically deploy a platoon or a set of characters and that's going to be a huge part of the new update. But let's take a look here at the post that they had, and that's in the 8.7 State of the Galaxy. They covered some of the rewards and intricacies of the new major release territory battles. As promised, we want to share some of the information about this mode. Territory battles is a new cooperative mode for guilds, found at a new table location in the guild's cantina room called Guild Events. Guild Events unlock at player level 65, and the first thing players will be struck with is this new kind of holo table, the territory battle map. So you're going to be looking at a map of Hoth, and that's where territory battles is going to launch, an event called Imperial Invasion. And in this battle, guilds must bring the strength of their entire collections to take over strategic landmarks and ward off the Imperial forces with unique bonuses and mission opportunities for Rebel and light side forces. Territory battles are a 3-day guild event consisting of 6 phases that are each 12 hours long. Now, we recently got an update today that's actually been extended to 24 hours. So, for some people that, obviously are working during the day or may have some difficulty, getting in that 10 to 15 minute battle, you're going to have a full day to do that now. I'm not sure how long that's going to last. I believe they're eventually going to bring it back to 12 hours long, but I think it's been actually planned to be based around times where you aren't going to be heavily working, like Friday through Sunday and things like that, where the majority of people are going to have off. But guild members will work together to conquer territories on a map by participating in a variety of missions on that territory, including deployment, combat missions, and special missions, and platoon missions. Each of these are described in detail below. In most of these missions, players earn territory points. However, players must be strategic about where they choose to put their troops to maximize their territory point contribution. Coordination across the guild is also important to maximize guild's overall success as measured by the total stars earned. So they're going to actually have a leaderboard for stars earned and galactic power now to kind of create some sort of a competition between guilds. And this will be, I imagine, the initial steps to, what they're, or the closest that we're going to get to, some sort of guild versus guild content. So guilds can earn up to 3 stars per territory point acquisition, but must earn at least 1 star to unlock new territories in the next phase. The arrows on the map show how to unlock each territory. After the first phase, guilds can decide to focus all their troops on one territory or spread out across the map. However, if at least 1 star is not achieved in a single territory, then the guild must redo that territory again in the next phase. If at least 1 star is achieved in all territories in the phase, then all territories in the next phase will be unlocked. So you're going to basically deploy a whole set of characters. Territory battles is first feature where every unit collected and every upgrade provides value, including units seldom used in combat. This made possible by a new stat called Galactic Power, which is the sum of power of all the playable characters and ships. Galactic Power increases with every single modification made to the unit, including its level, ability levels, mods, star rating, and gear. Now, that means that, these characters that you may not necessarily use all the time, like, obviously we've seen the need for Hoth Rebel Scout, Hoth Rebel Soldier, who's probably the hardest character to get in the game. Characters like that will have use in territory battles. During deployment, players send part or all of their collection to fight a territory, earning territory points based on galactic power of those units. Once units have been deployed to a territory, they can participate in any mission on that territory, but cannot be deployed to any other territory during that phase. When the next phase starts, units are available to be deployed once again, so they refresh after each phase. Participating in combat and platoon missions will automatically deploy those units, so players must make those decisions strategically. Okay, so this is going to take, coordination between the guild leader and the officers and the rest of the guild to make sure that you guys are deploying your characters strategically and making sure you get the correct amount of galactic power in each territory. So, again, I'm sure it'll be a lot more or a lot easier to understand or explain, once you have the actual the update in hand. But for the most part, from what I've seen on the videos so far, it seems like you're going to deploy a whole chunk of units into an area, and based upon how much galactic power you have, it will allow you to then move on and start your actual battles or missions, where you can take characters in and fight 6 waves of characters to earn a maximum of around 290,000 territory points. And each player will have that opportunity to then get those points and contribute towards the overall guild's total. And then when the points are totaled at the end, I believe you will then be able to, if you reach the amount of points necessary, move on to the next phase or the next territory once that's completed. So combat missions have special requirements for each unit to use. Most commonly they require light side characters or rebel characters, but sometimes even a specific unit. These missions also provide stat bonuses for some units that are important to Hoth and Rebels, like Hoth Rebel Scout and Hoth Rebel Soldier, for example. Now, platoon missions. In platoon missions, all guild members work together to complete platoons. Each platoon requires 15 specific characters with a minimum star level, which changes depending on the phase. There are 6 platoons in each platoon mission. Platoon mission progress is shared across the whole guild, and players are limited in how many slots they can fill individually, so guilds must coordinate to fill every slot accordingly. And in addition to this, earning territory points for each completed platoon, guilds can unlock powerful abilities for strategic landmarks like ion cannons. Every 2 platoons that are completed upgrade the magnitude of the platoon's missions ability up to the maximum of 3 tiers. So completing all 6 platoons would unlock the maximum power of that ion cannon, for example. Once unlocked, these abilities will be able to, or will be available to the entire guild in future combat missions, so pay attention to which zones are affected by these strategic landmarks, and especially players who are auto-battlers. Other platoons, or platoons mission unlocks abilities in future combat missions that weaken the enemies or debilitate them entirely to give the guild the upper hand. So, yeah, it seems like these platoon missions will unlock, some sort of cool weapons in different phases, like this ion cannon, for example. And some of these things are going to be necessary to get through certain phases. And I believe, the more of these weapons that you unlock, the quicker and more effective your guild is going to be in earning territory points. At the offset, I imagine it may be a little bit difficult to, maximize everything because, we're just going to try to kind of be scurrying around to figure out the game mode in general and just make sure that, we are getting the maximum amount of points from it. But, again, it's something that, will be figured out. Now, special missions are, instead of earning territory points, players earn unique rewards for the entire guild. For example, in one special mission, all guild members earn 1 Rebel Officer Leia Organa shard for every guild member that completes it. Special missions are more challenging, have stricter unit requirements, and don't show up as often as combat missions, but have great rewards. The rewards are pretty interesting too. The guild earns rewards based on the number of stars earned, but they also earn a new currency called guild event tokens, and these tokens can be spent on exclusive high-value rewards including Gear 11, Gear 12, and shards for Rebel Officer Leia Organa, Captain Han, and Hermit Yoda. Every guild that participates, or every guild member that participates, will earn the same rewards. So it's not going to be like the AAT or the Rancor, where based upon the rank that you have, you're going to get rewards. Everybody will get the same rewards. So that's pretty cool. Now, for friendly competition, there are stat screens, and guild members, based on their contribution to the territory battles, they'll be ranked, and guilds can also compete with each other for placement on 2 leaderboards: Guild Galactic Power, which is the sum of galactic power of all guild members, and 2, the highest star count earned on territory battles. The star count leaderboard resets every month, and the top 3 guilds from the previous month will earn the bragging rights of having their name show up on the cantina. So, pretty cool. What do you think about all that stuff? It's a lot to consume, I know. It's so many different types of battles, and, really, I think it'll be a lot simpler once you take a look at it. But what do you think?
From the start? From the start, I guess. Am I echoing?
No, you sound good.
Anyways, 4-hour rule is pretty nice. Everyone's looking forward to these territory battles, right? Everybody is super excited. Officers and leaders of guilds, right? Because there's going to be so much organization. You really have to get in there and test some things out. I think the 24-hour kind of window they're giving us to test it out is going to be very beneficial. Lead or officers and guilds, right? So that's good for everyone. As far as the game modes go, again, it's going to take lots of coordination. Like here on the screen, we're watching these platoon missions. So you're basically gonna want to go in and find all. Mission is requiring a 6-star lobot. You want to go through your rosters of your guild and find the weakest 6-star lobot to deploy in the platoon, right? Am I understanding that correctly? You want to put in the lowest units for these platoon missions,
right?
And then you want to get that all set up, and we got 24 hours to begin with, but when it gives it 12 hours, you got 12 hours to set up, all your platoon missions, make sure all your members in your guild have their weakest units ready to throw in there, and then you're going to go in there and do that combat mission and try to get as many points there, and then everything that's left over, you'll fill up your platoon, just go ahead and fill it all out, and then you'll dump everything else into that deployment. It's like a lot of coordination, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Some of these characters have been collecting dust for months, like Kit Fisto. I can actually use him for something now.
No, I agree.
So that's pretty cool.
All right, now we're taking a look at the meta report, and there's a staggering change, and it's actually in the form of Commander Luke Skywalker taking over half the pie and basically dethroning Rex, throwing him all the way to second place with a whopping 1,370 leaders at rank 1. Commander Luke Skywalker is now dominating the pie chart. Do you see what I'm looking at here?
Yeah. Bye, Rex. See you later.
Yeah, that's pretty much the case. Surprisingly, Clone Sergeant Phase 1 still in the mix there. The 7th ranked leader at rank 1, Clone Sergeant Phase 1. Good for him. Does he have a leader ability?
No, I'm pretty sure he's just the default character.
Yeah,
like Shard,
Yeah. Now, then Kenobi is right behind Rex with Qui-Gon Jinn, and then Grand Admiral Thrawn behind him. So Grand Admiral Thrawn is still working his way up a little bit. Even though nobody is really coming anywhere near or close to Commander Luke, and obviously that has its reasons. Commander Luke is definitely a tremendously awesome character, and he was also available to the masses, so everybody got their Luke, and now they're having some fun with him. Now Finn, again, is still on the chart here, and I know you're a big fan of this. So Finn holding down that 10th spot by a thread, it seems like, just trying to stay in the top 10.
Yeah, because people are figuring out these little hybrid resistance squads with R2 and Raid Han, right? That seems to be a pretty popular team that people are kind of throwing in there. It's really good on offense, just gets crushed on defense, but I guess that's every team, right? So
yeah. All right, now let's take a look at the top members or squad members at rank 1, and that's been also changed since the last time. It's also changed since the last time we were here. It's R2D2 now, because of the emergence of Rebel Luke Skywalker or Commander Luke Skywalker. We're seeing a lot more use of R2D2 because he's just the perfect teammate to add with Commander Luke, and now he's the number 1 used character or squad member at rank 1. I believe that used to be Darth Nihilus prior to this, but he's dethroned Darth Nihilus and General Kenobi and moved up, and Commander Luke Skywalker's trailing right behind too. He's in 3rd place. What do you think about the emergence of R2D2?
Well, I think he just pairs perfectly with Luke Skywalker. I mean, you got a countering R2D2 now. You got a countering stun character. Just 50% defense, 15% offense, and I guess counters, right? So he's even better than before underneath the Luke lead. Just the reemergence of the Rebels. They're back after their short vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Now, basically, we're looking at pretty much similar back end of the list here. You have Princess Leia, though, and Han Solo making a huge emergence onto the end of the list with the final 2 spots at rank 9 and 10. Princess Leia hasn't been a meta character in Arena for quite some time now, but obviously with the rework and the addition of the Rebel Luke Skywalker or Commander Luke Skywalker, now Princess Leia is seeing a lot more use. Grand Admiral Thrawn is working his way up as well, with Baze and Chirrut and Rex working their way down the list and seeing less relevance. But still, pretty interesting top 10. Looking to see what this looks like a month from now when we have the ability to use characters like Hermit Yoda and the new Han Solo and Princess Leia, but definitely interesting. So, overall, just going back to territory battles, I know we kind of we kind of had to blast through that there. But what are your thoughts so far? I mean, I know it's a lot to consume. I mean, we're taking a look at a couple of a whole new game mode, but also there's like several different phases to it. So you have the platoon deployment. You have the the missions. You have the special battles as well. It seems like they have 4 different types of battles. What are your thoughts?
I guess we're gonna have to see, right? I mean, yeah, you only know how it's gonna go. You don't really know how it's gonna go until you get in there, right? So,
well, from my just initial perspective, from what I've seen, it looks like you're gonna want to probably use your weakest units at first, just to get them out of the way, because you're going to use those characters as your to get the galactic power that you need initially, and you're going to want to save your better characters for the later phases or later territories. So that's just my opinion. Again, it's tough to come up with a strategy without seeing or having the game in hand, but I can tell you, from what I've seen, it looks like you're going to want to, throw your Hoth soldier and maybe your mob enforcer and those characters in at first. Obviously, if certain characters are required, you're going to have to meet those requirements, but you're going to want to get the characters that are least viable out first, so that you can save your stronger characters or your more viable characters later on. So we're going to take Sabine here to gear 11.
well, I think it's pretty cool because I was one of the few people that I love the tournaments, right? Remember the tournaments they had? I love the tournaments because you had to mod up and you just had to make all your characters kind of sync with one another. You know what I mean? So you can just throw in this team, throw in that team, and they all just kind of gel, right? Instead of just having an arena team of 5, you make your whole roster type characters, right? Now, I thought that was awesome. I love that part of the game, and this might bring back some of the elements because especially now with the galactic power, you want to put maxed out 5 dot mods on all your characters, right, to really maximize your galactic power. And so in doing while you're going through and place them all on there, you kind of just do them one at a time. Like you're doing Sabine there, so after Sabine, you might do another Phoenix character, then you see another Rebel, like, oh, this Rebel might go with these 2 characters, and you mod him up, and then all of a sudden you get a whole roster that kind of just it all kind of flows, right? I mean, everybody in your roster, you can kind of plug and play. Fun to just test out, especially since they're forcing us to use these characters like Hoth Rebel and Soldier and Scout. It'd be fun to get them in there because you have to, and then you just kind of build teams around them. So, and then we got the new characters, the Captain Hans. We got the Rolo we'll get eventually. It's gonna be cool, man. It's gonna be cool to see. I know all the dark side people are hating it, but it's some of these characters.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I like Hoth Rebel Scout. I like Scout. I've always liked Scout, so it's kind of cool to see him back, even though it's kind of forced on us. But
well, none of us have seen Hoth Rebel Soldier. He's just not a character
ever.
Yeah, he's just not a character that was ever necessary, and I'm kind of glad he wasn't, because I mean, again, for most people, he's just a harder character to attain. But I mean, man, we're going to need that Hoth Rebel soldier now, and he looks like I always thought he was an interesting character because he does taunt, and he does have a lot of anti-Empire benefits, but really, I mean, of the 2 characters, Hoth Rebel Scout is by far the more viable character. I mean, I used to actually run Hoth Rebel Scout with Princess Leia and Akbar back in the day to make up a pretty cool Rebel squad. Now this is, I mean, way back, like,
oh yeah,
but I mean that Akbar team, when they first made that change to Tactical Genius, where they added they kind of reworked Akbar, gave him that ability where like all Rebel allies will get like an extra attack whenever they use a special. So that was not always the case.
Oh yeah.
That was not always the case with Akbar. They made that change, and that made him like a very awesome character for a great period of time. And then, obviously Rebels fell to the side for a while. Then they came back in the form of Rex and Baze. I'm sorry, Baze and Chirrut. So, but
touch it on Hoth Rebel Soldier, man. Like, what do we need? A 5-star Hoth Rebel Soldier, that's right, and then a 5-star Han. Is that what it is?
Yes, a 5-star.
Is that right?
Hoth Rebel Soldier, 5-star Han. It looks like, but you're going to need to increase.
You need that to unlock Rolo, correct? You need those to earn Rolo shards. Is that right?
Yes, but you're going to also need to probably get their star level higher. As you get to the later rounds or the other phases. So you may.
Oh, right. Just initially to get Rolo, you need a 5-star both those characters, right?
Yes.
So all the guild leaders that are out there just ready to cut throats of anybody that doesn't have 5-star Hoth Rebel Soldier, just realize, like, you're not going to be able to use the 5-star Hoth Rebel Soldier until you get enough shards of the 5-star Han, right? So if somebody in your guild doesn't have a 5-star soldier yet, you can't really freak out because you can't use them anyway, because you're gonna have to farm up Han before you even get a chance to begin with, right?
Yeah.
They're out there that's just ready to just cut the knees out of anybody that doesn't have their 5-star soldier. Realize that it's going to take a little, 2-3 weeks extra than you anticipated, to farm up everyone's Hans too. So you got a little more time in that regard. All the leaders out there that are panicking because their guild's Hoth Rebel soldiers aren't up to snuff.
Okay.
Just out there, like, people are kind of requiring, all these characters like Soldier and Scout and Luke and stuff, and it's not as urgent, I think, as everybody is thinking.
Yeah, no, I agree. Get your questions in, guys. We're going to start our Q&A here in a few minutes, so if you guys have any questions you want to ask on the stream, me and Maurice will do our best to dive in and answer those questions. But just going back to the different types of battles here, we're talking about the platoon missions. Earning weapons like the ion cannon. We actually got to see a little bit of what that does, or how that works in the footage that we had. But the ion cannon, how do you think you're going to use that weapon? Is that going to be like some sort of like an extra ability, kind of like when you use, for example, at Grand Admiral Thrawn Lead, you just have an extra ability there on the side and you can just shoot the ion cannon, or how does that work?
I forget what video it was. It was either Arnold or Warriors, but it looks like a little icon right in the top, and it's kind of got its own turn meter, and once the turn meter fills up, you can click it. It looks like, I don't really know much about this, but you click it and it has its own turn meter, and then it goes, right? So okay. I guess maybe it just does like a big AoE damage, possibly some sort of AoE debuff, perhaps. Not sure exactly what it does, but
so basically it just starts off on cooldown and it has its own turn meter.
Yeah, pretty much is what it looked like. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's definitely pretty interesting. I mean, I'm wondering how that mechanic is going to work, but just looking at the competition side of it, that's pretty interesting. I mean, being that I'm in a pretty competitive guild, I'm looking forward to trying to battle for the leaderboards in a competitive manner. It's not really something that's been available to us to this point. Everybody ends up in a tie, and it's all about storing coins for a couple of days before the end of the month, and just trying to blast out as many raids as you can the first day. And it's been like that for a very long time, and now this is finally a way where we can actually try to use the rosters that we've invested in and tried to build for quite some time now, and also collect stars and compete at least mathematically against other guilds, including our galactic power. So it'll be cool to see how guilds react to that, and who steps up to the plate and tries to dominate and take rank 1. I know we're gonna give it our best shot. And I think I think we're going to be well prepared. We've been trying to prepare for this for quite a few months now, just getting the rosters ready, and also trying to basically have just have as many guild mates that are prepared for the new content as possible. So we've been very tight on recruiting restrictions for Alpha in the Alliance. How is Zai doing with preparations now?
We're good to go. We're ready to get 45 stars probably within the first 3 hours of territory battles.
Yeah, you guys actually have a really competitive guild too. So I mean, I think you guys will be pretty much ready to go, at launch. But I think everybody will, have a learning curve, at first, try to figure out exactly, what needs to be done and what's required. But I mean, overall, just in summation, from the actual footage that I've seen, and reading that post on the forums, I mean, I think that there's a lot of great stuff to take from it. Obviously, earning new rewards is going to be a new store they're going to add, where we're going to be able to get some new characters. We're going to be able to get gear, like Gear 12 gear. I'm not excited about Gear 12. I got to tell you. I mean, I'm excited about the difference it'll make, I guess, in arena and things like that. If you achieve Gear 12, the character, it'll make him stronger in some ways. But what I'm not excited about is, I've been just, working so hard to get all these characters to Gear 11, and now it seems like the ladder's been stretched even further away from me. But even more than that, it's really that. I've heard that the pieces themselves are going to be very difficult to get together. I mean, I've heard it's going to be like something like what you need now for these Gear 11 pieces, like these MK4 Sunner hollow projectors and things like that. How you need 300 pieces to connect that piece. You're going to probably need something like 1,000 pieces to get a Gear 12 piece, and that sounds pretty intimidating. Did you see those pieces or the leaked pieces of Gear 12 gear?
Yes. One of them takes like 2 Carbonis, a stun gun, a stun cuff, just something ridiculous. It's just so stupid. But my plea to the devs is, please do not put these gear pieces immediately in crystal shipments. Because if that's the case, there's just going to be a huge separation from the big spending players to the free-to-play players. At least if they keep it exclusively to territory battles, while the more advanced guilds will be a step ahead, it won't be like immediate. You know what I mean? Like, we won't go in day 2, and then all of a sudden the guy has 5 Gear 12 characters we have to face just out of the blue. It'll be like a slow progression, right? So
5 Gear 12 characters day 1. Yeah, that would be.
What's going to happen? You're an alpha, man. You would have some people if you could just buy it out of the shipments.
Oh yeah.
You guys would have some guys full of Gear 12 arena teams. It'd be crazy.
Yeah. No, I will not be one of those guys this time. But that's it's pretty interesting. I mean, I hope that they roll it out through territory battles too. That'd be a lot cooler. I personally think that it's going to be great to get that separation, like I said, in arena, where if you have 3 or 4 Gear 12 characters, it may give you a leg up against some of the competition in arena, because the arena's kind of gotten stale with the fact that pretty much it seems like everything's about how you play on offense, because defense doesn't matter right now. But it'll be interesting to see. I don't think I'm gonna win this battle here. I don't think my Phoenix squad is strong enough. But let's get into some questions. Do we have any questions in the chat?
Yes, we do. Give me 1 second. I'm kind of cleaning them up here. There's actually quite a few. Atomic Robot here dropped a doozy on me. I'm trying to double paragraph. 1 second. Trying to get it all. All right. go. All right, from the top. Let's see what we got. we got our buddy Dr. No Card.
Dr. No Card.
Yeah, he's asking us who should be in the platoon, the weakest characters or the strongest characters.
I'm gonna say this.
You want to put the weakest, right?
That's. I'm assuming the weakest characters. Yeah, I mean, I think you're gonna want to go with the weakest characters at first, and just kind of hold on to the strongest characters because once you put them in the platoon, I don't think they're available again until the next phase, right? So you're gonna want to, just put in the weakest characters. Like you're gonna go from weakest to strongest until you've used or filled up your full platoon.
That's and as I guess a guild leader officer, you're gonna want to kind of, for lack of a better term, memorize, right, your guild roster. So like if whatever character is asking for, you kind of want to know who has the weakest low bots, who has the weakest whatever characters they put in there, and whatever, like you guys use Line, Discord, whatever it is, you're going to kind of want to mention that person, player A, send in your low bot, and then maybe after 6 hours you have a backup to send in. And when it gets tricky is when it's going to have like the good characters in there, like the Bazes, the Cheruts, the Hans, stuff like that you're going to want to use for your combat missions. So you're really going to have to find the people that have the really strong squads that may not need those characters, or the people that haven't fully developed them yet, and throw them in there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
He's also got another question here. No Card does. It's what's your counter team for all these CLS-led teams?
My counter team for all these CLS-led teams is CLS.
Yes, unfortunately.
I mean, unfortunately, that's the way to go right now. But I mean, I think you can win with anybody. I mean, you win with a Qui-Gon Jinn team. You could win with a good solid Empire squad. I mean, you could win with a Grand Admiral Thrawn lead. You just have to deploy the right squad. And
Thrawn lead is actually pretty good, yeah, because I mean, when you start getting against these CLS leads, the CLS himself is dropping all these debuffs, so I mean, you could just constantly cleanse all the debuffs off.
Also, if you can somehow actually fracture CLS himself, you'll be in much better shape.
All right. Let's see what we got next. From somebody named Wolfpack. Welcome to the stream, Wolfpack.
Wolfpack, welcome.
All right, we had he or she says, had the idea to hoard Cantina energy for Cantina 7D when Captain Han gets put in there. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know where he's going to be, but when he does get there, or wherever you get him, I'm definitely gonna try to get energy together, for that. But as far as the release of Captain Han, I think, yeah, I mean, if it's going to be in the Cantina and you can hoard your energy in advance, that's definitely something you're going to want to do because, I mean, that you're going to be limited on the ability to,
It's Zai, right? We were discussing this actually earlier today. Anybody that's capable of getting their 600s, right, possibly hoarding Canteen energy from here on out to quicken up the, right? But then we've got so many cool people in the Alliance, so many people that are just all over, just all walks of life. And one of our members, actually, I think he's in the chat, actually, is Wixel. He's a member of Omicron. I asked him, he's got a pretty heavy, math background, and if I can quote him, he says, someone said the cap on stamina is around 1K. Since his node will require 16 stamina, there's a 30% drop rate. If you save up 1,000 Cantina stamina, you'll be lucky to turn it into 19 shards. So if we start saving Cantina energy today, right, if we stop using Cantina and start hoarding it, it's going to net us 19 shards, what he's saying.
Okay.
So it says, given that if you can add 45 stamina above your 144 cap per day through the midday login, and Captain Han Solo comes in 6 days, he's just guessing. He says, I don't know if that's correct. You have to spend 500 crystals to reach the cap. So not earning and spending stamina for a week. And then, here's another thing to put in perspective. Since the main value of Captain Han Solo is getting Rolo shards and a little bit more territory points for completion excuse me, of the special missions, Captain Han Solo nor Rolo are expected to be darlings of the arena. It's pretty clever. Like GK is. The very best, capping your stamina earns your guild 1 shard of Rolo, because those 20 shards of Captain Han Solo when the next territory battle comes out. It's funny you asked that. I had that ready to go. So, from the sounds of it, that was extremely boring. You know, I don't really know how to break that down without just quoting him directly. But you're going to net 19 shards if you save your stamina now, right, of Captain Han Solo. Save all your energy, you get 19 extra shards, which will probably net your guild an extra 1 Rolo shard, is what he'd say. So if you save your canteen energy.
Okay.
So, props out to Wixel. I asked him that earlier today. We were talking about it, and he broke it down nice for us. So, thank you, Wixel.
1 extra Rolo shard is better than no extra Rolo shards.
So that is also true. And of course, getting your daily 600 is top priority, right? Like if you can't get your 600 without your canteen energy, you obviously want to get your 600.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But that's, that's pretty interesting. I mean, that's a pretty cool, way to look at it. I'm sure there's also going to be, a whole bunch of different things that we're going to figure out here over time that, were ways to cut corners and things like that. So,
he's actually got a YouTube channel. I'm not sure if he's posted videos in a while, but he's got an interesting perspective on things. Back in the day, I remember seeing like a Biston video he did and some other stuff that was pretty cool. So,
okay.
Thank you for the question, Wolfpack. Thank you for the answer, Wixel. We got another question from this Wolfpack character. It is... My computer's freezing, 1 second. Can you lay out for us what the kind of baseline is for each phase? I'm seeing each phase and 3 regions in a phase. So is that 5 tunes times 3 teams? Light side tunes.
It looks like it's going to be... Yeah, it looks like it's around... I mean, from what I saw, it looks like it's around 2 battles, right? It didn't... Were those 3 or 2?
Oh, I think each tiers and stages, it's getting kind of confusing. All the blocks on the map look to have 2 or 3 little areas on them, right? Isn't that what it kind of looks like?
Yeah.
And each of those little
it looks like you get
bubbles
you get a bunch of different types of missions. So you get initially you're going to get you're going to have your platoon missions where you drop your characters. That's where you drop a massive amount of characters into an area. Then you're going to have your combat missions, where you actually fight through the waves of enemies. Then you're going to have special missions also, and that's where you're going to earn, the shards for Leia Organa, and you're also going to earn, I believe this is where you earn, points towards your guild store, or the store for the territory battles, the new territory battle store. So. The special missions are going to be harder to achieve, so it's going to be based upon, I think, having a certain amount of GP to get into an area. I think the biggest problem that people are going to have is having the galactic power to get through certain phases, especially initially. I think at the offset, you're going to need to have very high galactic power to get through the different territories, and I think initially that's really what's going to hold people back. But I think everybody's going to be able to participate at first. I don't think that's going to be an issue. I just think it's going to be a matter of whether you're going to get max rewards or not. And I think most people aren't going to at the offset. But just like, HAAT or anything else, trial and error will eventually, steady wins the race. Eventually it'll work out.
I'm not sure it really answered that question, but we'll move on. I don't really know what to say. I mean, it's confusing. You got blocks, you've got tiers, you've got stages, you've got phases.
Well, repeat. Was that the long question? What was the base of the question really?
Basically, seeing each phase in 3 regions in each phase. So like each phase has 3 blocks past the first and second one, right?
Right.
And then it says, so does that mean we need 5 tunes times 3 teams equals 15 light side tunes? Means is you just put in as much as you possibly can, because you have to beat all 3 of those, for lack of a better term, blocks on each phase, right? Like the map, all 3 sections. You're going to want to do all 3 of those, because if you look real closely at the map, there's little arrows, right, that are on each block. And if you don't get at least 1 star on that block, you can't progress.
Yeah.
So you're going to want to do all 3 of those and split up your guild. You might need more than 15 characters. Like if you're, I guess, initially what I'm thinking is if you're responsible for combat missions, right? Like you want to go in and you're going to do this combat mission on this block, this combat mission on this block. You might even have another one, like 3 or 4 combat missions might pop up on one, right? I mean, because each of the blocks has multiple, like, battle options, correct?
Yeah. Now,
so
from what I see, it looks like you're going to need 15 specific characters for the platoon missions. You'll probably need 15 characters for the actual combat missions, and then like I said, the special missions and.
Well, for my initial reaction is every member in your guild should probably have at least 2 very, very, very solid teams, right, for the combat missions. And then you're going to have your 1 team for the special mission that's pretty much set with your, I'm sure there's not special missions on every phase, but just the 1 or 2 that are on there, you're going to want to have that team set and ready to go.
Absolutely.
You want to have 2 additional teams that you want to use for the combat missions, like resistance would be a great option. I hear a lot of people talking about like Zeta Jin leads, even like a wedge lead if you're a newer player. He's not bad because he gives you a little survivability with the health regen, does lots of damage. Commander Luke obviously is going to be a great option. Okay, maybe if you have those, I guess we'll have to see. So. And then you're going to want to have, you can get your guild up and get all the platoon characters taken care of. And then when it's all said and done, you just want to dump everything else, deployment missions.
Yes, there's also going to be ship missions too. So there'll be ship battles. I think those are going to be similar to the combat battles, right? Where you're just going to kind of bring in your ships. I don't think you're going to just deploy ships. I think you're going to deploy.
That I do not know. I'm not sure.
I think you're going to deploy characters, but what you're going to do is like the ships are going to be kind of like the combat missions. So like instead of fighting with traditional characters, you'll fight with the ships. But yeah, for the most part, it looks like at the offset, you're going to be best off with around 30 light side characters. So that's a tall order for sure. But I think that's. It's something that you have to work towards, and ultimately you're going to want to have the characters that you need for the platoon missions. Like they're going to be character specific, like so you're going to need to have like Hoth Soldier or certain other things like that. So not the platoon missions, the combat missions, sorry. So the platoon missions, you're going to want to use the characters that aren't the necessary characters, or the characters that you're going to use for your combat missions that you're going to save for that. So, and again, I could be mixing up combat missions and platoon missions here, but I think was it the platoons where you need specifics, or is it both?
Yeah, the platoon is where every guild member can put in up to 10 units, right? So you want to do that and just kind of pick it, just kind of pick that off throughout the 12, 24-hour window
Is it
that we're
10,
going to have.
is it 10 units, or because it says each platoon requires 15 specific characters?
Right,
Okay.
yeah, but I think each guild member can put in a max of 10 characters. So, like, if you have, like, let's say you've got a good guild, but there's like one or two guys that are significantly lower galactic power than the rest, you can't just have those guys just fill up the platoon mission as their objective. Like they can only put in 10 characters. So other guild members are going to be responsible for helping, maybe the lower galactic power guys fill those up.
Right.
So, like the guys at the bottom kind of of your guild roster, they're going to be very helpful because they are going to be able to contribute, 10 members to this platoon mission, whereas the stronger members in the guild can use their more beefed up characters and throw them in that deployment stage, get your guild more territory points.
Understood. That's pretty interesting, though.
It is, and I don't have any experience with the gameplay. Like I've just watched these videos that have come out in the forum posts and stuff like that, and just general discussion, in our Discord and stuff. It's a lot of it's speculation, and we'll know for sure. I mean, hopefully, very very soon. So, the next question is from actually Grandmaster Wixel here. I'm not sure that we know this yet. Do we know yet how many territory points are needed for each star level of each phase? This seems like an important thing for leaders to know for planning.
That does. No, offhand, I don't think I know the answer to that. But we could probably.
If you've got an hour, I would recommend maybe watching Warrior's video on that, because his is very, very detailed and in depth on it. And he might
absolutely
show how many points are needed. I don't personally know.
Absolutely, check out Warrior's video. Also, check out Anal T101's video and Mobile Gamer's video on the territory battles and Hermit Yoda. They had some really good footage to share, and they all have add their unique perspectives on the new game mode. So you're going to want to see that. And Warriors, from what I saw, was the most in depth. I mean, he definitely went into it for quite a bit of time. I think if you want something quicker that you can consume a little faster, Mobile Gamer and Anal T101's videos are both good for you too. So, but if you have the time,
Arnold did a great job of condensing it down into about 20 minutes and just giving you tons of info real quick. I think he did fantastic with that video that he put out, the 17, 20-minute kind of one. Very informative, very quick.
Yes. I think Warriors, though, and also bear in mind, Warrior is a member of Team Instinct. They're one of the best guilds in the game. So, he's also got a lot of great minds over there that he's working with that are helping him, and they're all, working together to try to prepare for this too, just like we are. So, I'm sure, you could take a look at, what he's doing, and he'll give you some really good advice as well. So, because I guarantee you Team Instinct is going to be prepared for this. So, now, the other thing you want to look at is having to attain Han. So, it looks like you're going to need Han there in the beginning from the footage that we saw. Somebody mentioned earlier, getting him from the cantina. Does that mean that we're going to have to wait till we get Han to do the territory battle the first time, or are we just going to be able to go without him?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was catching up on the chat. What were you asking? I'm sorry.
It said, from looking at the footage from Mobile Gamer, it looks like you're going to kind of need the new Han to progress. Is that something you think we're going to need at the offset, like so we won't be able to complete territory battles or compete in it until we've unlocked and gotten Han, or is it something that we'll be able to do right away?
Under the impression that you cannot get Rebel Leia shards, Rolo shards, unless you have both 5-star soldier and a 5-star Captain Han. So I think whenever the game update drops, right, everyone will be scrambling because you'll have to farm before you can do the special mission. It doesn't mean you can't progress, It means that you it goes back to the arrows on the block, right? Like if you can't beat the special mission, actually I don't know. Maybe the special mission is something completely different. If you can't beat it, you just don't get Rolo shards. But maybe you can still progress throughout the map. But then again, you're going to need Rolo shards somewhere towards the end of the territory battle, right? So, like if you can't get Rolo shards, you obviously can't get the very end game, rewards. But I mean, if you're not getting Rolo shards, you're not going to be anywhere close to. But you can still do all the other stuff. You can do all the other territories, just not the one special mission that looked to be relatively early on in the phases.
So, major takeaways from the territory battles update. Anything specific that you think is a must or something that people should be doing right now to get prepared for the release or launch of this game mode?
I don't know. I'll tell you what, man. These people asking the questions, they're actually, I'm reading them out, and then I'm thinking in my head, they're bringing a lot of insight and perspective and stuff that I haven't even considered. So I'm learning a little bit myself from people asking all these questions. So just basically, I guess you just need everything, right? You just need to farm everything. But I guess the most important thing is to probably focus the combat phases, right? Because then you're at least guaranteed 1 star on this part, 1 star on that part, because that's all you need is 1 star to get to the next territory. So I guess if you had to focus on one thing, it would be really buying up 2-3 really good light side, basically arena teams. 2-3 light side arena teams is basically what you need.
Right, and yeah, I mean my advice would be the main thing you need to work on is guild coordination. So, like Maurice said a little bit earlier, you're going to want to deploy the right units in the right area, and that's going to involve really kind of knowing what your teammates' rosters are like. So, the best advice anybody could give you, and the best way to prepare for this is really just to get together. Or try to get together, even though most people are going to have conflicting schedules, with the other 50 members of the guild and have a big guild chat and just try to, break out the spreadsheets, break out the stats, kind of look at everybody's rosters and just, know how many 7-star Hawthorne soldiers you have, know how many 7-star, know how many 7-star, how many 7-star Jin Ursos with a Zeta that you have, know how many Zeta Finns you have, and just be prepared for all the different aspects that the game mode is going to throw at you, and just have the stats ready, so at least when it comes out, even if you're not necessarily prepared at that moment, you know what you're looking for. So just make sure you get together with the guild leaders and the officers, start to really break down and list all the different characters that everybody has prepared and what gear levels they're at, whether they have a Zeta or not, are they modded, are they all at level 85? These things are all going to be a part of calculating the galactic power, and that's going to be a big part about where you're going to deploy different characters and whose characters you're going to deploy in different areas. So if you're going to, like Maurice said, use, let's say, somebody's 4 or 5-star Hawthorne soldier, or somebody's Zeta Jin, you're going to want to do that accordingly based upon where it's going to be most beneficial to the guild. So you're just going to want to kind of start to break out those stats now. But any more questions?
Oh yeah, we got a few here. I think we got a couple non-territory battles. Actually, one more Munter here. Zyre Die, baby. Zyre Die asks, God bless America, I lost it. Okay. He asked, characters appear in both combat missions and in platoons. I'm under the impression that the characters for the platoons are, right, so I think there would probably be a chance that characters are needed in multiple areas. and I'm under the impression again that these rotate. It's more than likely never going to be the same characters in the platoon. Like you can't like plan ahead of time who's going to put in their Ayla or their Lobot. It's going to be random every time. So I guess the answer to that is probably yes.
Yes, right? But I think that I think you are going to be able to kind of prepare for. I think you are going to have to use the characters only either in the platoon or in the combat battles. I don't think you're going to be able to use them in both locations in a phase. I think like once you use that character in the phase, they're no longer available during that phase, so you won't be able to really use them again until the next one. This is like horrible.
All right, we got another one. This is actually a question from Tony Richards. Do I Zeta OG Han first or Zeta Jin for territory battles? I already have one Zeta on Commander Luke in R2 and currently take first in arena. Zeta would be better.
OG Han or who?
OG Han or Zeta Jin?
I'd say Zeta Jin.
I would also say Zeta Jin, but I would, if you're getting first in arena, there's no reason to just put it on somebody. So you might want to sit on it and see exactly what we do need. Because I mean, this game mode is probably going to be out relatively soon. So I know Zeta, me personally, Zeta's burned a hole in my pocket. I have a real hard time sitting on it, but I mean, I would probably just put it in your pocket and plan on putting it on Jin. But maybe, and who knows? Like maybe this is, it's just like the Raids. This is going to come out and people are going to have their initial teams that everyone thinks are the best, right? And everyone's going to work on those teams. They're going to get them done. And then all of a sudden, somebody comes out with a team that's way better than anything we've thought of yet. And then it's just going to, the cycle's going to start over again.
Absolutely.
And to sit on stuff and just wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see what else we got. We got a couple more. Oh, we got one from our boy Master Kylo. What up, Master Kylo? Asking where you been, Remon. Where you been, man?
Oh, I've been living my life.
Good answer.
You ever seen Forgetting Sarah Marshall, the movie?
God, like when I was like 18, man, long time ago.
He brings him like a tape, like he wants him to listen to his music, and he's like, "Oh, did you get a chance to listen to my tape?" And he's like, "I was gonna do that, but then I just carried on living my life."
This one is from my buddy Atomic Robot. He says, I run Commander Luke, Zeta Ibat. What that? I don't know what that is. Zeta Z-Ibat. I guess that's one of his Zeta abilities. Double Zeta R2, Thrawn, and Chase. So we got Luke, Chase. I was taking first until a player put together the same squad as me, except he used OG Han. What's the best way to beat the squad? Do I drop a Zeta on my OG Han? In for Thrawn. Luke, R2, Thrawn, and Chase. And he's having a hard time beating, I guess, Luke, R2, OG Han, and Chase.
OG Han's really good with a Zeta. The thing is that, again, he's really only going to be good for you in arena right now. But I'm glad to hear that he's got some relevance. I mean, he was one of the, OG Han pretty much became unusable as soon as he became available. Like as soon as we got him, or everybody else got him, he was only really usable for a short period of time as a counter to droids, to stun Jawa engineer. But now he's seeing some relevance. So what's the question? Is he asking should he Zeta Han or? Like, what's the question?
Yeah, he's basically I guess he's basically asking, does he put a Zeta on his OG Han and substitute him in for his Thrawn? I guess he's wanting to run a mirror match, and the boring, unfortunate answer is it comes down to mods, right? Like you're going to need mods. You basically have to outmod your opponent in this case.
It's still going to come down to mods. He's right. It's a situation like, where you're running a lot of mirror matches in the top 5, and it's just going to be a matter of who has a faster CLS, who has a faster Thrawn, who has a faster Nihilus, and those things are going to throw you off. Getting your cooldowns increased at the start of the encounter, can set you back. If his Thrawn goes first and fractures your Thrawn or fractures your CLS, you could start off on the wrong foot and kind of fall behind. So the best way to do it would be to just try to make sure you're faster. Actually go into your opponent's arena squad on the top ranks and just kind of look at the mods that he has on his characters, see how fast they are, and try to get your Thrawn to be faster than his Thrawn, and at least the characters that set the table, characters like Thrawn that set the table with Fracture, and characters like CLS that set the table with that Dispel and turn meter reduction at the start of the encounter. Characters like that you're going to want to have go first, or R2-D2 with a smoke screen. Also, be cognizant of the fact that they may have a base on the other side that can completely dispel your stealth, so you may want to hold off on that smoke screen at the offset to let base go first. There's different things you want to be prepared for, but again, speed is always going to be a factor in this game, and right now it's even more so because of all the competitive teams out there, because everybody's kind of running the same thing. And because everybody's running, teams that are, beatable by other teams, nobody's really dominating the arena right now. You want to make sure you have the fastest mods, because that's really the only separating factor.
Well, the kind of the cool thing about Commander Luke is it's an effective, like retribution team, right? So if you lack the speed mods, which you can really stack your team with offense. Just put offense across the board, because you're not going to go first anyway, but everybody's countering. So you got Han. If you put an OG Han, he's going to double tap you or whatever, and he's going to hit you for like 50k and just one shot a character if you get enough offense on him. So if you don't have the speed, really look for the offensive primaries, like a cross. Maybe like ideal would be like, because you're going to need some protection on Han, obviously. So like a offense cross with some protection primary or secondaries. Just offensive secondaries and all the other mods kind of help you out a little bit.
Absolutely. All right, let's go with the final question here, so we can we can wrap it up. It's getting kind of late.
All right, we got one more question that I got here, so that's good. This one comes from Taserface.
Taserface.
What's up?
What's going on?
All right, if we haven't finished Hera yet, do we finish? Okay, let me restart. Taserface's Hera is at 5 stars. If we haven't finished Hera yet, do we finish her or switch to farming Captain Han when he comes out?
Get Captain Han.
Yeah, I would. I guess a lot depends on your guild. Ready to get those Rolo shards, you don't want to be the one that's slacking. But if everyone's kind of far off or doesn't even have 5-star Hothorable soldiers, I don't know. You're going to need Hera, regardless, because it's possible to use any of the Phoenix as a unit without her, and also she's a pilot for a ship, which you're going to need. So you're going to increase your galactic power on your roster and on your ships with Hera. So kind of get like a double whammy there with her. But
yeah, Hera is definitely
yeah.
Hera's definitely a necessary character, but Han is going to be a character you're going to want to get.
Oh, she sucks, man. She's such a terrible character.
Yeah,
she's awful. But yeah, you need her.
Hey, you have to have her.
That's all I got.
You have to have her, unfortunately, but she's, she could be so much better. Again, bear in mind that these Phoenix characters don't have Zetas. So they probably will at some point, which will give them some sort of relevance. There's definitely going to be like a Phoenix upgrade. I think that they kind of came out with their initial kits, and they're going to see an update at some point down the road here. But I don't know. Final thoughts before we wrap it up here for the day.
Um, Not really. Excited, kind of nervous, because there's four of us in Zai that kind of I guess co-lead for lack of a better term, and it's just we're gonna have to really get together and get with everybody in the guild, and kind of formulate a strategy that works for us because we're like a global guild, so it's be a little challenging, but I look forward to it.
Yeah, same here. We've got a lot of members, and we want to work out what works out for the best for everybody, and we've also got a bunch of new teammates that are joining us because a lot of people are trying to come into Alpha, especially now to get prepared for the new game mode and the new content. So, yeah, thanks everybody for coming to check us out. We definitely had a really cool stream today. I think next week, again, it's going to be on Saturday night. Last week we held off because had some personal obligations. Also, Maurice was out of town, so we kind of held off on the stream. But there's definitely going to be a show next week on Saturday night, so look forward to that. But if you guys have any questions, come into the Discord to come talk to us. You can go to the ALLIANCEGaming.com to find out more info about territory battles as we get closer to the update here. You're going to start to see tons of content coming from the Alliance. We're going to be posting guides and videos and tips, as we learn them, so that we can, educate the community with all the information that they need for the upcoming territory battles and how to, get through them as quick as possible. I know personally I'll be putting out a couple of guides on farming as far as, what you should expect or what you should be trying to get to prepare yourself for the upcoming game mode, and also for a battle plan for territory battles when it launches. So I'm going to create a battle plan video, just kind of breaking down, what you're going to want to look at as far as, deploying your weakest characters first or not, and how many characters you're going to want to deploy in each area. I'm going to give you an in-depth look at that, kind of like Mobile Gamer, Warrior, and a Knowledge have as well. So again, appreciate everybody coming down to check us out. Definitely looking forward to next week. I'm sure we're going to be getting the game mode here in the next few days, week or two, and we'll be able to dive right in as soon as that comes. But love all you guys. Appreciate everybody coming down. Go to the ALLIANCEGaming.com. We'll see you next time, and may the force be with you. We'll see you on the next one.